Why, hello there, everybody. Yes, we are back with this particular story.
Yep,
It's.
we missed the
Mm,
deadline of Halloween, so we decided to just put it off until this year.
oh boy, this story. Why did it have to be this story?
Because it loves you and wants to stay with you forever.
Okay, Silent Ponyville 2. A story about Fluttershy and the water and lanterns and mildew at some point. And she tries to fight all those things with all her might, or something along those lines. And there are monsters too. I don't know, it's been 365 days. Well, minus a month, since last time we read this atrocity.
Well, it's a good estimation of that.
Yes. Wait, what? Estimation?
Yes, I decided not to give a frick because I'm tired right now. So, okay.
You know
so first,
what? If you put it like that, I shall not give the freak as well.
Yay! So, but yeah, I will still be trying to do my normal Halloween voice.
Okay, a quick summarization of our general feelings for this story so far. In a word, exhausting. In more words, you know how purple prose works. You know, you have a sentence that's fattened by as many adjectives and synonyms and verbs as possible without actually saying anything of substance.
Yep.
It's embellishing a sentence or indeed an entire paragraph only for the sake of showing off the virtuoso-like levels of writing of the author. As in to say, it's really, really bad writing, it's style over substance, it's exhausting to read, it's idiotic, it does nothing for the reader, it's all for the sake of the writer themselves. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, that is purple prose in a nutshell. That was our traumatic experience with the Eye of Argon!
Yes, the Eye of Argon.
Yes.
Who could ever forget that masterpiece?
Well, Silent Ponyville stands on the, let's just say,
precipice?
Other end of the room. I mean, imagine purple prose is on the left.
Yeah.
And this story is on the right.
Right.
They have separated beds. They are, on the precipice of a divorce, basically. They don't sleep together anymore. They have to think of the children, though. There is some bill to pay, the house, everything. And they don't talk to each other anymore. It's a dead marriage, basically. What I'm trying to get at with this really nonsensical metaphor, and by the way, get used to the nonsense already. You should know it by now. What I'm trying to get very cleverly is that while purple prose fattens up a sentence with as many words as possible, the writer of this story, the writer of Silent Ponyville 2, does not have quite a very large vocabulary, at least judging from this story. Because he has the tendency of repeating the same words over and over and over and over up until they cause an allergic reaction on you.
Especially water.
I could not bathe for an entire month because of that. Imagine those who live with me. And all because of this story. And it's not just that, because clearly the author wants to craft an atmosphere of suspense and horror and horrifying imagery, but by repeating the same words again and again, it really distracts you from the immersion. What's worse is that he clearly thinks he's writing some sort of horror, gothic masterpiece, and what have you. Except for all the freaking misspellings. So not only you have repetition, you have misspellings a go-go, basically. And combine all that with the fact that most of the story we've read so far retraces and recycles very specific story beats from the previous iteration of the franchise, if you will.
Yeah.
The original Silent Ponyville 1, which also had these problems. But in this story, all of those problems that the first story have, they have been exacerbated to an utmost level of exacerbation. And they are especially noticeable now because most of its story, it's recycled bit by bit.
Yep.
So, again, to summarize, repetition, misspellings, recycled story beats. Combine all of that together and you have the Captain Planet of fanfiction writing.
And here I thought you were going to go for the arthritis of fanfiction writing. The pain in the joints of writing is what I meant to say.
So, this is Silent Ponyville 2. In a word, again, exhausting. Really exhausting to read and to get through. We ran out of jokes pretty early on, and the jovial riffness of it all was replaced by just either blind anger or just apathy.
I think I was apathy more.
Bottom line is that we could not, force ourselves to continue reading this. We had to take a break from it. It's not me, it's you.
And yes, and we all know what happened there. We went to Mogeko Castle.
And after that, we went to Downfall. Okay, so this is a trend established by now. We are not very lucky when it comes to horror games or horror stories in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from Silent Ponyville 2 to Mogeko Castle to Downfall to the Grey Garden and now to Mad Father.
Yeah, which you'll see at some point.
Let's just not. Okay, so anyway, so the good news is that we are at chapter 5, and excluding all the millions of endings that this story apparently has, we are merely 3 chapters from the end.
Yes.
The bad news is that we still have to read 3 chapters of this. Oh,
Madhog.
yes.
We put the knife into this fanfiction, and now we have to take it out and watch it bleed.
I would like to twist it a little bit before doing that.
All right, you're the vicious one of the two of us.
You have a surprising mean streak, my man.
I blame years of Unreal Tournament. Anyway, and Doom.
Yes, we should start reading this. So, chapter 5. Alright, enough with the preamble. It's time to get through this and hopefully survive the night.
I'm sure we can. We just need to decide who goes first.
I'll take one for the team.
Good on you.
I'll
be behind you.
I mean, I was already set on fire that one time in the campaign of Beachside, so might as well continue the trend of self-mutilation.
Of course, and I'll be right behind you.
To stab me in the back, I know. Okay. We can do this.
Yes, you can.
We can do this.
Yes, you can. Now go on.
Yeah, chapter 5. Only by putting all our weight, we cannot do this. We cannot do this. We cannot do this.
What? Because that one word?
Do we have to start an all our weight counter now?
Well, this is the first one, so...
I do not even remember what the actual all our might counter was at. I forgot. I don't care. Okay. Only by putting all her weight onto it was Fluttershy able to snap the end of the mop handle. I don't remember anything that happened up until this point. Do you?
No, but let's just pretend we do.
Oh boy. It was just the right size she needed. She gripped it tightly in her mouth, breathing heavily through her nose, whatever. Her mind was reeling, her body was fighting her decision, but it was one she'd already chosen to make. She carefully looked back in the mirror. Her body was starting to shake. She carefully raised a hoof up, her body screaming out as it touched the tender spot. She bit down harder on the stick. Her breathing was stirring into a panicked breath. The health drink, trademark, had none of the pain. But it couldn't numb this. It couldn't numb the grim realization. She put on weight!
I know, I thought you were going to say she realized she was in a fan fiction.
That's too easy. She had one shot to do this right, and she had to watch to make sure she did it right.
Gotta lose all those calories.
Exactly. She couldn't close her eye.
To the internet's dismay, who like fat-bottom girls.
Let's not.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We badly just restarted this, as it were. Her heart throbbed in her throat. I can emphasize the R, and you can't.
Nope, and I don't care. Now carry on.
She could hear every fast and deep breath she took, her hoof positioning itself just correctly. She readied herself as best she could, and then, in a swift motion, moved her hoof. Crack! Yes, that's literally what's written here.
Yeah,
crack.
She has crack on the table.
Big, bold, cap-locked letters.
Big, bold crack.
She's a crackhead, I knew it. Fluttershy screamed into the broom handle like she'd never screamed before.
Even more so than pretending that she's on a live stage show singing out, play Fluttershy's music.
That was the most forced Joe Hendry reference I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You can do better than that. Anyway, the pain was instant and intense, like red-hot knives piercing the back of her mind. Her body collapsed once more as fresh tears poured out of her eye. The only one eye she has, apparently. You know, for all we know, she could have half her face bandaged, and we could not remember.
Yes, I'm starting to wonder if that is the case.
She panted heavily, laying there as she tried to recover from the pain. Okay, already he used pain 3-4 times in the last paragraph. Already I'm noticing all the repetition. Pain has been used too many times. Learn synonyms.
Get a thesaurus. You have it.
Oh, she lay there. Perhaps
too easy.
This could have used a past tense. I'm just saying. Twitching as her wing throbbed constantly now. So both her heart and her wing are throbbing, apparently. Okay. In more pain than it had been before. Again, déjà vu. It seems like I'm rereading a sentence not too long ago.
Yeah, but in a different context.
I'm starting to believe half this story is just the fruit of copy-pasting. You know, like reused animation in 80s cartoons.
Yeah.
No, reused sentences to save money.
Fonda the Barbarian.
Yes! I just released that video today, day of this recording being the Monday of Actually, the Tuesday morning of the 4th of October.
Yes. October.
October, yes.
October.
Anyway. Where was I? She forced herself to stand up, to look at it in the mirror. Mirror, mirror in my wall. Who's the cutest of them all? Pinkie Pie. I'll kill you, mirror! You know, that's subjective opinion.
Yes.
She had to make sure she had snapped it back into place correctly. Through one eye, she looked at the wing carefully. I'm getting a strange feeling that nothing is getting accomplished right now.
I'm feeling like as if nothing has been said of worth.
So it's purple prose without the actual purple prose.
Oh gosh.
This is amazing. Despite it being covered in blood, hurting like she'd never felt pain before. Oh my god! This is literally 2 mini paragraphs ago. This is literally the sentence from 2 paragraphs ago. I can find it right now. Seriously. Look, it's right above it. She lay there, twitching as her wing throbbed constantly now, in more pain than it had been before, and then, descend a little bit, here's the new sentence.
Hurting like she never felt pain before.
Despite being covered in blood, hurting like she never felt pain before. What is going on here? Who's really stuck inside in Ponyville? The character or us?
Maybe that's the point. Maybe
This drives me crazy. She could see that the wing was in the correct shape it should be. She managed to snap it back correctly. She prayed it would be enough to keep it usable. I don't care. Once it finished healing. Because, it hurt like she never felt pain before.
Yeah, just like you never felt pain before.
Oh, I felt pain. You can trust me on that. Mm-hmm. She lay down onto her back and held her injured wing straight as best she could. Only having one hoof to mend her wound was a pain! But she could work around it. She carefully placed the stick out the wing to keep it straight. Again? Again?
Again?
You said that already! Opening would also help in making sure her wing healed. She carefully grabbed the bandages and proceeded to wrap her wing with the stick.
I feel like as if that last line there, she carefully grabbed the bandages and proceeded to wrap her wing with the stick, was the only new thing that the author should have kept.
Wait, didn't she do this already?
She did. I think she did everything else before, but not the bandage part.
Really? I could have sworn.
I could have sworn she did something with the stick ages ago, but it just...
You know what, Devar?
No one cares.
For the sake of my sanity, I'm going to trust your word and move on with my life.
Yes, as in continue reading this. Pain!
Because that's my life now. That's my life now. I'm sorry, I'm currently in the process of having an existential crisis. Okay, I'm done. It was excruciating, but once her wing was wrapped, she finished taking care of her wounds. She panted heavily as she carefully picked herself up.
I thought she already did that.
I know. Just let it go. It's Chinatown. Looking back into the mirror to see everything that she had done.
Oh my gosh.
Again!
Third time.
Oh, do you see, people? Do you see, people? Why we could not keep reading this? It's only being 1/10 of the entire chapter so far. And already I'm completely drained.
Let's continue and see what happens next.
Oh, gee, I wonder if it will have anything to do with her bandaging her wings straight. Straight, I'm suddenly from Liverpool now. Straight with the stick, looking herself in the mirror, putting herself up, and seething with pain like she never hurt before. Her face was half covered now, wrapped in bandages, so only her good eye was visible. Her hoof was bandaged and now raised in a sling that had been carefully tied around her neck, just below her lantern, so that both could fit around her neck. Her body had been rewrapped for the third time as well, to make sure the first wounds she had received were healing well. You could use a comma somewhere around here, I'm just saying.
I think that comma took the wrong turn at Albuquerque.
He took off with Steve, the period. Eloped in Las Vegas. And finally, her wing was wrapped. This is like the third or fourth time that her wing has been wrapped in something.
Watch, it'll be wrapped in bacon. You'll be like, wait, what?
In a makeshift cast that she had managed to get to lay flat against her body. She sighed at the state her body was in.
Come on, you can do this.
She had a hard time believing that this was real. Yet there would no doubting the pain she felt. Okay, so not only there was a glaring repetition, but they even forgot to write B in between there and would. So it's a double dose of maddening. It's a double dose of anger-filled reading for me.
Right. Yeah. Okay, we have the first line of dialogue, finally.
If Rainbow Dash or Pinkie Pie are hurt, could they take care of the wounds?
I don't know! Why don't we ponder about it for the next 40 minutes? Just a thought. Why not? Would Rainbow Dash be able to bandage her wounds? You know, wrap her wings straight, look herself at the mirror, noticing she had put on weight?
Also, would the veteran Pinkie Pie be able to tend to her wounds?
Oh yes, because Pinkie Pie was completely shoehorned into this story, wasn't she? Even though her arc was done and complete in the previous story, no, we had to drag her into this nightmare again and completely invalidate whatever development she managed to gain at the end of her arc. Oh, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get there. Trust me.
Right then.
Anyway, Fluttershy frowned, looking at herself.
Rainbow Dash is reckless, but she's also strong. She might be alright. She could fight back against the monsters here. But Pinkie Pie...
Are you kidding me?
Didn't your friend tell you this?
She shook her head.
No. Pinkie Pie's done this before. As hard as that is to believe, she'll be fine too.
Hey, remember the time in which Pinkie Pie was, sensible enough to give the two of them a complete rundown and briefing of all the dangers they might be coming across once they do the mind delving? Remember the time? It sure is a good thing she remembered to do that. I mean, if she hadn't done that, she might have passed for a really terrible friend. Wouldn't you think? It's a good thing she actually did that, because otherwise it would be pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that for the sake of everyone involved.
Please do. Also, strange enough, there's more dialogue, and, after a paragraph break...
And, okay, so this is another amateurish mistake that I've seen too many times to feel comfortable around it. Apparently, there is the end of the sentence, which is also technically the end of the dialogue line, but there are no end quotes to end up the sentence. And
Nope.
then there is a break in the page, and we go to another paragraph, and it begins with another dialogue line.
With an open quotation mark as well.
It's just a common mistake, really.
Yeah.
Both of my friends are fine.
She smiled to herself in the mirror, trying to force herself to be reassured, but it wasn't working well. You don't say. She frowned again before looking away from herself. Can you frown a frown even further?
I hope they are.
She turned and looked at her surroundings. Oh, gee, finally! It only took you, 20-something minutes to get to this point. She had wound up in a bathroom after the lift ride, though it seemed the effects of the drenched, rotting world had been left behind for the moment. The bathroom looked like it had fallen to disuse, but nowhere near the levels the hospital had. She had found a mop in the corner of the room, though it hadn't looked like it'd been used in ages. What an obtuse format for this sentence. It hadn't looked like it'd been used in ages. It doesn't roll well off the tongue, does it?
Nope.
You know, using abbreviations is fine and dandy, but there are times in which it sounds much better to use the full word. It was time for her to leave, though. She had to go to find her friends. Her friends. Yes, because, well, you know, one is technically a lover, and the other one is technically not a friend. Honestly. So, yes, ends my confusion. She carefully slipped the saddle bag back onto her back. The saddle bag back onto her back. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
A very common mistake this one is.
I know, but, you know, everything we come across is a common mistake. But when you add, and you keep adding on top of the mountain of added mistakes, it eventually becomes a volcano.
A volcano of apathy and pain.
Oh, like you've never been hurt before.
Let's continue.
And very carefully coordinating her free hoops, walked out of the bathroom. All right, good for you. Finally, moving the plot along.
Finally.
She walked out a cool breeze, wincing a little as the cold air beat against her freshly bandaged wounds. I should read it like Christopher Walken. Freshly bandaged wounds. She looked out as best she could to see where she was, but it seemed that night had fallen, shrouding the world in a veil of darkness.
Have you taken a part of my stories at some point, author? Because that's why I say stuff like this.
Whoa, gee, it's almost as if, you know, amateur writing has some common threads.
Has it really been half a day?
Fluttershy asked herself in shock, and to her major shock, she answered back. She hadn't felt that much time pass, but maybe because of her condition, she was having difficulty with being a good judge of time.
That's me already.
You know, Time, I thought you were cool, but I misjudged you. You're kind of a jerk. We shouldn't hang around anymore.
Yes, I always wanted to be friends with Eternity, but you never let me.
Time and Eternity! Oh no, that game is awful! It's a real game, and I have it. I happen to have it, and I try to sell it, but nobody wants it.
Oh wow, really?
Yes. She carefully... Yeah, it's really bad. Don't look at it right now. We're in the middle of a reading.
I can't help it. I see it. Okay, I have seen this game. Gotcha.
She carefully turned her lantern on, and it illuminated the path before her. There was a dirt road before her.
So much before hers.
Open wide at first, before narrowing into a forest.
Well, this
Okay,
one's before her.
Okay, so to recap, there was a dirt road before her, there was an illuminated path before her, and there was a narrowing path into a forest before her. So basically, there were 3 different paths before her.
They were in a queue for the post office.
She looked around, noticing the building she had walked out of. She knew where she was.
I'm glad you do.
Yes, it was the boathouse that sat on the edge of Crystal Lake. Wait.
Crystal Lake?
Are you going to fight against Jason Voorhees?
I was gonna ask, is Jason Voorhees gonna be here, or is it gonna be Jason Voorhees' mum?
Either way, it would make this story minutely better, to say.
Or confusing.
But still better, at least we would have something to comment on other than, oh no, you repeated this word for the millionth time, oh poo, oh anger, oh frustration.
You know what, let's try not to do that anymore, because we've already stated this so many times.
Yes, but if we don't do that, then this reading will be over in 5 minutes.
Read.
Okay. Where was I? It was the boathouse that sat on the edge of Crystal Lake, just outside the eye of Ponyville. So every time I accidentally misread a word, I'm going to
exaggerate it.
I'm going to emphasize the mistake to make it funny. Does it work? You tell me. That meant she was only a short walk away from Ponyville. She could be there in just a minute or 2. Yes, let's go there. I'm pretty sure nothing is going to go wrong.
Hold on. Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, I'm coming to find you.
Ooh, Fluttershy, so assertive. Fluttershy said determined. Because of lack of comma in between said and determined, it seems like Fluttershy is actually saying the word determined.
Determined?
Before moving as quickly as she could down the path to Ponyville. You know what's not moving as quickly as it could?
The story.
Yes. Too easy. She was having trouble coordinating free hooves correctly, especially with trying to trot into town. She was wobbly on her legs, most likely a side effect of not having rested enough. But she kept going forward. Her determination to see her friends was the strongest factor driving her mind right now. Twigs in the forest snapped. Strange noises crept through the leaves. Will you provide sound effects?
Okay. And...
Top notch. She swore she could hear soft wails in the distant trees. Yes, appropriate. So, this episode of Dramatis Lectio is presented to you in glorious 4D. But she forced her mind off of the sounds. She had to move past them, move into Ponyville. The path began to open up before her, the dirt path quickly being replaced by the stone streets of Ponyville. The trees spreading apart as she saw the first signs of the homes in Ponyville. She smiled to herself as she returned, happy to be back in a place that seemed more normal than where she had been for the last half a day. Her music box began to hiss, stopping her in her tracks. Thank you for the train stopping sound effect. That's great.
Oh no, they're here too.
Fluttershy gulped. Okay, you're fired. As she looked into the night, trying to see what was causing her music box to hiss. Sliding into view around the ground before her came a creature. It was in the basic shape of a pony. However, this creature seemed to be no older than a filly reaching marehood.
Okay, let's see what it is.
Is this a beloved return?
Let's see this.
Its body was completely hairless, the skin of the creature looking as if it had been deeply bruised all over. Many parts of the skin dead or dying, with other parts seemed fresh and healthy in comparison. Its ear... Common mistake. When it's referring to a possession, I said this many a time, its does not use an apostrophe in between the it and the s. It's all one word.
Right?
Its ears were folded down, melded with its face in such a way that its eyes were covered. Its long legs pushed its body against the ground. Its front hooves seemed to be strapped down on its back, as if tied down with its own skin, melding it with its body.
Well, that's a very strange machination.
Well, it clearly symbolizes the abuse that spoiler, spoiler.
Yes, that's good to know.
As the creature crawled around, it let out a strange screeching cry, not unlike that of rusted metal grinding, unpleasant to the ears, I might add, but yet a sad, wailing cry. Fluttershy gulped as the creature seemed to push itself all over the place, much like the Tony in Danganronpa. Unable to move in a straight line.
Just like Danganronpa.
Well, yeah, the tone is all over the place, but the story progression is linear.
Oh, okay.
Her instinct was to feel sympathy for the creature. Her gut told her it was a creature to be pitied. Her gut told her that it was a creature many, many times. That it needed her help. Ellipsis. Then, an image of the dark creature appeared in her mind. She carefully stepped around, slowly getting away from the creature. Creature! Before running deeper into town, she slipped away from
the creature!
Her music box finally going back to silence. She panted softly, looking over her shoulder to the direction she had left. This is ludicrous.
Yeah, so much creature.
Okay, here's a few synonyms you could have used. Being, monster, beast, filly, I don't know, even anomaly, if you will, enemy, entity. Synonyms!
We has them.
We have them! Use them!
Microsoft Office even has them.
It didn't seem to be able to follow her, which didn't surprise her, considering it didn't seem capable of moving in a straight line. She let out a soft sigh, grateful that she could avoid the creature. She really only had enough bandages left to wrap one more wound, at best, and she didn't know when she would need it. Very soon, I can tell.
Yep.
I mean, terrible pacing notwithstanding,
yeah,
she carefully began to look around, trying to focus on the buildings around her. She blinked her eyes to gain more focus. If she knew where she was in Ponyville, she could navigate her way around.
Also, she only has one good eye, so how could she blink the other eye?
Well, you know, that's a really good question.
Shut up, right?
Yes, she carefully moved her head around to look, careful not to harm her injuries, as a blur moved across her vision. Hi, I'm Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! Where are you going to go back to read my fanfictions, huh? That is mondo and cool of you. No cool at all, and I'm way past cool, because I'm Sonic. Gotta go fast. Yeah, okay. That's going to be fun to voice once we come back to the Tails saga. Because, oh yeah, that's another thing we left in suspension.
Huh?
She said, quickly turning her head back to the blur. In the distance, as if glowing white like an angel, was the image of a young filly. Another one. Fluttershy stared at the filly, not sure what to say or if to speak up. She wasn't even sure if it was real or not, but it was a filly just standing in the middle of nowhere. She used to live with Eustace and Muriel. The little filly let out a giggle before turning around and running away from Fluttershy. Okay, so cue the cliche appearance of the main character's child version that she has to chase around. Yep, that happened in the first story too.
Yep.
Hey, wait! It's dangerous out here!
Take this!
Yeah, she just gives a stick.
Fluttershy cried out, her instincts acting too quickly, actually. Chase after the filly. Oh, wait. I have to reread this sentence because I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Fluttershy cried out, her instincts acting too quickly, chase after the filly. I thought he was going to say too quickly, as in too much quickness, slow down.
Yeah.
But no, actually I set a trap for myself without even realizing it.
Yeah, I think the author meant to put quickly and two the opposite way round.
No.
Oh wait, wait. Sorry, I set my
You-
own trap up too.
You fell for the same trap too! This line is cursed! Cursed, I tell you!
In my defense, I am tired, so
It's you.
okay.
Come back! You shouldn't be alone!
If the filly could hear Fluttershy, she didn't seem to be listening. She just continued to run, turning down a street. Fluttershy followed as quickly as she could, but she was slow and stumbling now. She cursed the other self for having let herself get so injured when she needed to help an innocent foal right now. The first part of this sentence makes me angry for some reason.
Maybe she should have said cursed under her breath for having let herself get so injured.
Her music box hissed as from the darkness crawled out another one of the monsters that pushed itself along the ground. Fluttershy ran past it, making sure to avoid even touching the creature. Her whole body was telling her she had to catch up with this filly. The filly turned down another street and Fluttershy followed as best she could. She's doing a lot of things as best she could as of late, isn't she?
Yeah, not like Pinkie with all her might. Fluttershy's got as best as she could.
Yep, with all her weight that she needs to lose. Oh, like she had never felt pain before. Nearly toppling over as she slowed herself down with her free hooves, she quickly paced down the street. when two of the monsters burst forth from the darkness, causing her music box to wail. These two seemed to be heading straight for her, with no time for her to move out of the way. She gulped before quickly jumping. The two creatures wiggled their way past her as she landed behind them. She thanked Celestia for having avoided them, before returning her sight to the filly. So I like this! We're coming to get you, and she jumps like Mario over them, basically. Just like, boing! Avoided! That's hysterical.
On 3 legs as well.
She thanked Celestia for having already read that. Fluttershy quickly drew closer to the house, looking it over before gasping.
Actually, you might have skipped a bit because you ended halfway through that sentence of before returning her sight to the filly. You missed the rest of that sentence afterwards. Madhog?
No, I did not miss this at all.
Well, the filly made one last turn, not down the street.
No, I mean this. All of this. I did not miss it at all.
I'm sorry.
The filly made one last turn, not down a street, but into a house. Fluttershy felt grateful that the filly had gone inside, but she still had to make sure that the filly would be alright. Fluttershy quickly drew closer to the house, looking it over before gasping. This house needs to lose weight! I don't know why I said that. I don't know.
Because houses are living beings too.
House life matters. Hashtag and everything. The house was in terrible condition. Hashtag not all houses. It didn't look like it had been used in years. The windows were boarded, the walls were black, holes littered its frame. The gentle breeze caused it to groan very slightly.
This house really let itself go, I see.
Fluttershy gulped again, getting a bad feeling from the house again. However, the filly had gone inside the house. She couldn't leave the poor thing alone. She very carefully walked up to the door and pushed it open, her lantern illuminating the insides. The door opened up to a decrepit living room. The furniture had long ago been eaten by insects. The table lay in pieces on the ground. Most of the doors were sealed off with wooden planks. The floor was covered in a thick layer of dust. No commas here. All right, sure. Fluttershy slowly walked into the house. Her every footstep made the house creak and groan, as if struggling to hold up her weight that she needs to lose.
Hey, stop walking on me. Good Lord, you have to lose some weight.
I swear to God, the darnest things end up being a running gag with us.
I have no idea why this is.
She looked around the living room. Every doorway on the floor she was on was completely sealed. There would be no way for her to get through any of them. On top of that, she couldn't see a single sign that the filly had entered the house. She turned her attention to the stairs, the only path that hadn't been barred off by wooden planks. It's the filly! If the filly had gone anywhere, she must have gone upstairs. Well, thank you, Detective Pikachu. That's... You know, if this were to be Danganronpa, you would not make it past the first trial, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Fluttershy slowly made her way to the staircase, looking up its length. She very carefully began to climb it, testing each step to make sure it'd hold her, as she then worked on climbing the stairs with just 3 hooves. She found herself doing surprisingly well. Despite the creaking, the moaning, and the constant threat of collapse, she made it to the top of the stairs. Gonna fly high, da-da-da.
I was going to make a terrible joke of saying, and then she slips on a bar of soap and falls down the stairs.
She looked around. To her left was a door that was blocked off by some wooden panels. And to the right was ELLIPSIS! ELLIPSIS to the right!
So this is where you were, Steve's.
Fluttershy blinked in confusion. The imagery before her seemed to clash with the rest of the house. The section of the floor right before a door had turned into a red, rusted metal, the door made of the same material. Nothing I just read of this sentence sounded right. The walls seemed to be stretched out in a...
Forgot the ED, man.
You forgot the past form here. Why am I surprised? I am not. The walls seemed to be stretched out in a circle around the door, making the walls rotting and falling apart, while just behind the holes in the wall was a chain link fence, as if they were holding the walls together. The area gave her the sense that it was supposed to be like a cage. ELLIPSIS. To cage all the Steves. Fluttershy gulped before walking up slowly to the door. She didn't know what was behind the door, but something told her she had to look inside. She had to find out what was in this room. She carefully put her hoof up to the door, took a deep breath for courage, and pushed open the door. Cue famous door song here, and scene.
And here I was going to say, when she took a deep breath, she was like,
Yay.
The first sound that came to her ears was panting. Loud, exasperated panting, in fact. Of the noisy variety. Her eye focused on the image before her, her sight recognizing two different hues of pink in the shape of a pony. It had to be ELLIPSIS!
Bertie!
I mean, Pinkie Pie?
Fluttershy called out to her friend. The panting stopped as the pink form seemed to freeze right in front of her. It slowly turned. As Pinkie's wide blue eyes came into view, looking to stare at Fluttershy. Fluttershy let out an audible gasp as she yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Give yourself a round of applause.
No.
She instinctively took a step back. Pinkie Pie was covered in blood.
What's new then?
Yeah, good point. Her mane was straight and her cheeks were wet with tears. She'd been crying. Commas! Use them!
They're your friends! Did you have a falling out with them?
Seriously, it seems like this guy's relationship with grammar and punctuation has been traumatic at the very best. It's like he was in a toxic, codependent relationship with a comma. Fluttershy's eyes immediately tried to spot or identify a wound, but she didn't see one. The blood on Pinkie hadn't come from her. It had come from ELLIPSIS!
Yes, all three of them had lots and lots of blood. Like 3 pints worth.
Fluttershy's eyes moved down to the ground. Laying on the ground in a pool of her own blood was Pinkie Pie.
Wait, what? There's 2 Pinkies?
Will the real Pinkie please stand up?
Well, no, she can't because, she's dead, most likely.
Oh, so this is the fallout of that Too Many Pinkie Pies episode. Though this Pinkie was different. The hair was curly like Pinkie's normally is, but it was wearing a multicolored leather dress with varying wings on the back.
She's back. Well, she was back.
ELLIPSIS, by the way. Okay, so the whole point of Pinkie Pie overcoming her fear and her traumas and everything was to her to finally, grow into a better person, a better version of herself. And that's what she did. She overcame her fears, she overcame her past, and she became healthy again. That was the impression that we got at the end of her arc in the previous story.
Yep.
So now, why does she have to face it all over again? It's like the previous story did not count in the slightest.
It's kind of like it's in its weird logic, this story.
This is offensive.
It's baffling.
This is offensive for us because we read that story. We read it only for it to be completely invalidated by this tripe over here, this idiocy. I will not accept that. I am very much opposed to this, vocally, in fact.
I can tell, and I really, really cannot give much right now in the way of any feelings because I had none to begin with for the story.
Anyway.
Oh yes, Pinkie.
Fluck, 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 fluck. Okay. Fluttershy? The standing Pinkie seemed to gasp, as if finding difficulty breathing.
Pinkie Pie, what happened?
Did you kill the symbolic representation of your trauma again? Fluttershy asked in shocked disbelief. She could barely make out the scene before her. I'm trying so hard not to make a Danganronpa reference, but this is making it hard.
I can see that.
Why were there two Pinkie Pies, and why was one dead? Fluttershy? Sniff, sob. Pinkie hiccuped as fresh tears began to spill down her cheeks. Is that really you?
Of course it is. Pinkie Pie, why are you...
Fluttershy couldn't finish the sentence. The words were refusing to come out. She couldn't think of how to speak what she needed to say properly. Wait, she couldn't think how to speak what she needed to say properly. It's probably syntactically correct, but it still sounds wrong. So even when you're doing right, you're doing wrong.
It's right to be wrong and wrong to be right.
Fluttershy, why are you? Pinkie choked on her words, and she desperately rubbed her face of her tears. Why are you so hurt? What a dumb question. Have you seen the place?
Yes,
This place is a health hazard, I tell you.
It's worse than the UAC's health regulations.
Pinkie twisted her head, as if saying those words struck pain into her.
What?
Fluttershy asked confused, before looking down at her hoof in the sling. She was hurt. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah, it's so convenient we could forget this.
But at the moment, she didn't care about that. She cared about what was happening with her friend, ELLIPSIS.
I'm fine, Pinkie Pie, but please, tell me...
You're not fine! Pinkie interrupted her with a yell. I'll say. Fluttershy took another step back in shock. She'd never, ever heard Pinkie yell like that before. Fluttershy, Pinkie visibly shook her as more tears came from her. From the pink pony. Adieu. I cannot read. I've been reading for an hour and 5 minutes.
So I could tell.
As her blue eyes looked at her once more. Your face is swollen and covered in bandages. Your hoof is in a sling. Your body's wrapped up, and your wing is in a cast.
Please let me kiss it better for you.
Also, have you gained weight?
Allow me to kiss that better for you too.
Pinkie then snapped her head away from looking at Fluttershy as she sobbed hard. If only I would have been a better friend and told you beforehand that this was a terrible, terrible idea and the reasons why it was a terrible idea instead of being so uselessly vague about it. Anyway, Fluttershy was speechless. It was true. She was in very bad condition at the moment. Oh my gosh.
Yes, this is...
Okay, and to follow that, there is a small break and one singular word followed by ellipsis. And that word is but. Classic, 5 stars.
Yes, just one T there. Good on you.
But seeing her pink, party-loving, fun-having friend sob and cry while covered in blood didn't feel right to her.
Why does fun-having friends sound weird to me? I don't know why. It sounds really weird to me, that sort of description.
She wanted to help Pinkie Pie more than she wanted to help herself.
Pinkie Pie?
Fluttershy mumbled softly, as if trying to find the right words to comfort her friend. This is all my fault.
Yes!
Emphatically yes!
Yes, it is.
Wait, we had this moment already.
Yeah, I could have sworn we did.
Pinkie visibly shook as she cried. I shouldn't have let this happen. Yes! Emphatically yes! I should have protected you.
Yes!
I should have been there. Pinkie hiccuped and gasped for breath. I should have known better than to let Twilight do this. Yes! Again! Yes! It's almost like...
Yes!
It's almost like you should have been completely left out of the story to begin with.
Oh boy.
I will never let this one go. This is such a glaring, fundamentally story-destroying plot point.
Don't worry, I've saw this explosion of a bad plot.
It's you.
Okay,
Pinkie, you couldn't have possibly known things would happen this way.
Fluttershy offered her words to Pinkie. Pinkie seemed to stop shaking for a moment before she began to shake again, and much was accomplished. Though this time it was different. Pinkie, ellipsis, Pinkie was laughing. Well, hi there, Nagito. Are you going to be our stepping stone for ultimate hope?
well, it's nice to see that we have a bit of craziness going on here again.
Fluttershy grimaced a little. This wasn't a fun-loving laugh. Oh, you don't say! You don't say! This was ellipsis. This ellipsis. This was the laugh of a mare whose mind was breaking. She's breaking bad. I don't know why I said that. Oh, that's to laugh. Pinkie tried to smile, but her mouth wobbled as she rubbed her face. I've been through this before. I've done this once before, and I know how horrible this place really is.
And she turned to Mad Father.
No, that would be like this. I am not doing that voice again.
Please don't.
Pinkie shook her head. But despite that, ellipsis, despite knowing everything I do, I let us get brought here anyway. It's almost like I'm a terrible friend. Pinkie let out a single laugh before the smile she was trying to have vanished from her face as she hung her head. I'm sad now. Rainbow Dash was right, Pinkie mumbled quietly. If I had really cared! Okay, if I had really cared, I would have said nothing. I would have told you everything that happens when you come here. I wouldn't have tried to hide the truth for the sake of protecting you all from what I experienced. No, I didn't speak up because I was selfish, because I only cared about myself. And so I let this hell fall upon you, Fluttershy. You know, acknowledging the problem does not solve it.
No.
This is such an out-of-character thing for Pinkie Pie to do and to act like. And the more you try to explain it and justify it, the worse you're making the character itself.
Yes, especially since it looks like as if she's digging her own grave while she's at it.
I have zero sympathy for her at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Fluttershy's mouth fell open.
Fluttershy's mouth fell open as she tried to speak. She didn't honestly believe any of Pinkie's words, but she couldn't say anything that would make her friend not believe them. Her mouth closed as she frowned. She felt so helpless. Ellipsis.
She felt helpless against all the ellipses.
Pinkie's head slowly turned to look at the corpse of herself that still lay on the ground. Something about that body seemed to spark something inside of Pinkie Pie. Something dark side.
Oh wait, it's Pinkie.
I'm actually not sure if it's Pinkie Pie.
I think it is.
You know, this reminds me of a similar problem that we encountered during the reading of my fanfiction.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to just let my friends die. Nope, because that would make me a terrible friend.
I would never let Rocky die.
Rocky?
Yeah, you know, that big pile of rocks she had in that one episode where she went crazy because she thought all her friends were ignoring her, not coming to her parties.
Oh, his name was Rocky.
Yeah, I thought it was Rocky.
You know, I remember Madame Lefleur, but I don't remember Rocky. Weird. Strange, isn't it? I'm Sonic. I'm back to remind you need to go back and read my fanfiction because I'm making my first ever appearance. Yay, gotta go fast.
Can I slap that advertisement?
Oh boy,
She stood up.
Okay, she stood up almost as if she was yelling at the dead Pinkie. I refuse to lose. No, I refuse to be the reason they die. So long as I have strength in my body, I will not let any of my friends fall victim to this world any longer. Dun, 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 dun. So long as I have a single breath of air in my body, na 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 na, I will fight this world with everything I have so that they can live. Okay.
And fight with distrusity.
You shall face the fear of distrosity! Okay. Pinkie was angry. She was panting heavily as she yelled at the corpse. In this one moment, she had never seen Pinkie go through so many emotions. Emotions that gave Pinkie's words truth behind everything she said. The words were all personal, words that she had to speak from her heart.
I don't know if I should say this, but does it feel like Pinkie's sort of hijacked the story?
You know,
maybe it's just me. I just feel like she's hijacked the story.
well, actually, no. I can assure you, emphatically, she does not.
Oh, good.
In fact, her entire presence in this story is about as meaningless as it could possibly get. Seriously, you should not have her in this story to begin with. Rainbow Dash makes sense. Pinkie Pie does not.
Yes.
Anyway, Pinkie slowly turned away from the corpse, looking at Fluttershy with a glare. Fluttershy flinched. Pinkie's stare softened when she saw the fear she was putting into her friend. Pinkie rubbed her face one more time as she tried to put on a soft but sad smile. Come on, Fluttershy. Let's get out of here.
And get a drink of coffee.
Pinkie said slowly, walking towards Fluttershy. Fluttershy could only just softly nod as she turned around and opened the door back up, walking out back into the abandoned house's hallway, slowly followed by Pinkie Pie. So, what brings you here? You! Well, actually, Twilight Sparkle, but it's also your fault.
Yes, everything's everyone's fault.
Pinkie asked quietly, not looking directly at Fluttershy, but at the hallway before them.
Well?
Fluttershy tried not to stumble over her own words.
I found my way back to Ponyville after getting separated, and then I saw a filly run into this house. I was looking for that filly when I found you.
And then you had this uncalled for outburst, and this really put me off. Fluttershy explained quickly. So you saw a filly running here. Wow, gee willikers, that sure sounds familiar. Pinkie asked, making sure she understood. Fluttershy nodded her head. Did you find her yet? Fluttershy shook her head. Then we should try and find her. If there's one thing I've come to realize, Ellipsis, things don't just happen without a reason here. Ooh, look at me, I'm being useful for once in my life.
Oh, look at me, I have information and know things about this place that you don't. That makes me useful.
Pinkie said as she began to walk further down the hallway of the second floor. Fluttershy slowly followed after Pinkie Pie. There was silence between the two mares. Fluttershy wanted to speak up. She wanted to say something, but the words only got caught in her throat. She felt like Pinkie Pie was portraying herself as a monster. This does not lead into anything.
Yes, I could gather that.
But she knew Pinkie Pie wasn't a monster. She was a caring friend. Who more than anything loved her friends.
Debatable.
Pinkie checked the door, only to find it locked. She seemed to scrunch her face at the door before letting it go and continuing on, leading the way. Fluttershy watched Pinkie Pie as she moved. She seemed to scrutinize the small details, looking at her surroundings with intensity. She looked like she didn't want to miss a single detail of anything in the house. She seemed determined, focused, like nothing was going to stop her from the mission she had set herself out to accomplish. I wonder how long before something stops her. Fluttershy's ear perked up as her heart suddenly dropped. She could hear it. The ELLIPSIS, they were coming for them. She could hear the siren blaring in the distance.
Oh no, the ELLIPSIS siren! Pinkie Pie, do you hear that?
Fluttershy asked, terrified of the sound. Hear what? Pinkie asked, instantly putting her focus on Fluttershy.
You don't hear it?
Fluttershy asked, surprised.
Then maybe it's my imagination.
Yes, this is literally the inside of your mind. Fluttershy, don't ever assume anything here is your imagination, even though it literally is. Pinkie said, emphasizing the word ever. Tell me what you're hearing.
I hear a siren.
Come to us, Ulysses. Fluttershy mumbled quietly. Pinkie's pupils shrunk, as if in instinct. Fluttershy, stay very close to me. Don't leave my side, all right? Pinkie said very seriously. Fluttershy nodded her head softly as Pinkie turned back around before continuing down the hallway. At the end of the hallway, they came to another door.
Another door! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, another door.
Super scary.
So many doors. Pinkie put a hoof up to it, and the door swung open.
Oh my gosh! For popcorn everywhere!
Inside the room was a surprise. The shape of it was well taken care of. There was a new beige carpet with white walls all around the room being lit fairly well. On one side of the room was a giant mirror that seemed to encompass the whole wall. Pinkie entered the room first, scrutinizing it carefully. She didn't see anything out of the ordinary in the room. There was a small bed in the corner and desk with drawers. On one of the walls next to the window was another door, similar to a closet.
Oh my god, it's another door!
Pinkie walked over to the desk and examined it, seeming to be looking for something, opening each of the drawers for a clue or answer. Fluttershy slowly walked into the room as she turned off her lantern. She had been expecting scenery similar to the kind she had seen at the hospital, everything drenched with water, rotting and falling apart, but the room was remarkably serene. Something about it gave her a sense of calm. ELLIPSIS! Nothing, Pinkie Pie muttered, staring at the desk confused. Is the desk confused? She then turned her attention to the closet door and walked over to it. She opened the door and saw a small walk-in closet.
The closet's still walking!
Wait, there is a closet inside the closet? Oh no, closetception, wham! That was lined with some clothes and boxes. She stepped inside to investigate for clues. You smell the clue? I smell a big clue this way.
Yeah, smells like a downfall of a woman there.
Smells like teen spirit. Fluttershy sat down, looking at herself in the mirror. She really did look a mess. She'd managed to avoid getting most of her hair in the bandages, so it was helping to hide the bandaged side of her face. But she still couldn't believe just how much damage she had taken from her encounter at the hospital.
You'll be okay?
Fluttershy said to herself, raising a hoof up to touch the mirror. The mirror began to become translucent! Of course it does, as Fluttershy let out a shocked gasp. On the other side of the mirror, in a room similar to the one she was in, sat Rainbow Dash, staring at the mirror. Wow, we're having this moment.
This is a moment we're going to be having, apparently.
Rainbow Dash?
Fluttershy cried out, pressing her hoof harder against the mirror. Rainbow Dash? Where? Pinkie cried out from inside the closet. She instantly moved to exit the closet when the door slammed shut on her face. And that's how the story gets rid of Pinkie Pie. By getting her stuck inside a closet. Ooh, spooky!
Spooky closet!
Yeah, this is some real Scooby-Doo shenanigans going on here. She stared in shock at the door as she tried to force it open, but it was locked tight. No, you let me out right now! Hey, Pinkie, you need some help? I'm Sonic. Go away forever. I prefer being stuck in this closet. All right, I'm off. I'm Sonic. Gonna go fast. Okay. Pinkie yelled as she banged on the door. She banged so hard.
No.
She banged so hard she could feel pain begin to soar through her hooves. She banged so hard she felt pain. Oh, phrasing.
Context.
Okay. Fluttershy couldn't believe that Rainbow Dash was on the other side of the mirror. She did not even notice Pinkie Pie was locked inside the closet, apparently. She tried to bang her hoof against the mirror. Weird use of bang here. Here and there. I would have used a different word.
Yes,
Anyway.
I definitely would too.
But Rainbow Dash didn't seem to hear her. Rainbow Dash was just staring blankly back at her from the other room opposite the mirror.
Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash! Rainbow Dash!
Fluttershy cried out desperately, trying to get her mere friend's attention. She banged against the mirror as hard as she could. Giggity, her hooves beginning to bruise with each strike. But Rainbow Dash just sat there, looking confused at the mirror before her. It was at that moment that Rainbow Dash noticed she had put on weight.
God damn it, I thought it was too cool for weight.
Suddenly, the lights dimmed. Fluttershy gasped as the light grew dimmer, her hoof quickly moving to the lantern to turn it on. The bright light blinded her, as if it reflected off the mirror. As she was no longer able to see through it or Rainbow Dash with the light on, she quickly turned the light back off, looking back into Rainbow's room. The door at the back of Rainbow's room opened. The Rainbow Dash still didn't move. Darkness was creeping into the room from the open door, washing in as if it was mist. I cannot play that game to save my life. Fluttershy's heart sank. From the doorway flared a pair of familiar red eyes.
Uh-oh.
Fluttershy banged on the mirror again and again. She really loves that mirror. Crying out as loud as she could.
Rainbow Dash, behind you!
The dark creature opened its mouth, revealing its wretched white mouth as it slowly walked closer to the sitting Rainbow Dash. But Rainbow Dash didn't move. She only seemed to tilt her head in confusion, looking at the mirror still.
No, stop, please, don't hurt Rainbow Dash.
Well, okay then. Story's over. Because you asked. No! Obviously! Fluttershy begged as tears began to stream down her face, her hoof starting to hurt from how hard she was banging on the windows.
Window? I thought it was a mirror.
The dark creature stood right behind Rainbow Dash, its white mouth grinning at her as her heart stopped beating. Fluttershy looking right up into its face. The dark creature opened its mouth in a bigger grin. Fluttershy's heart sunk further into her gut. The creature raised its mouth higher. Then it brought its mouth down hard on top of Rainbow Dash. The mirror turned bright, forcing Fluttershy to shield her eyes from the sudden change. She adjusted her eyes as best she could as she looked up at the mirror. Mirror, 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 mirror. A soft, sad music box lullaby began to play as images started to dance across the mirror.
Don't worry, Ashley. I'll fix you up.
I'm sorry, Ashley? Did you just say Ashley?
Apparently so.
Did you just throw a completely normal human name into the pony world?
Someone did, apparently.
What?
This is a bit weird for me.
This is incredibly weird. The image was a crying, very young, Philly Fluttershy. Her pony doll had been torn to pieces, the stuffing spread all around her.
Oh, so Ashley is the doll.
It's still a weird name to give to anything in this world.
Yeah, that is a weird thing, still.
The filly was very carefully pushing the stuffing back inside of the torn-up doll, before taking a threaded needle and starting to very slowly, very shakily, sew the torn pieces back together. A splatter of blood struck the window, making the image turn red before the image changed.
Mother?
Yeah, I guess that's a nice little transition you got from Sony Vegas Plus, I guess. That's nice.
Mother?
Yeah, you know what,
Yeah.
Navar, I've been reading this for the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
So could you take over from here? I cannot continue.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm going to drink some water.
Mother?
Philly Fluttershy called out softly to her mother, who was lying in her bed. The older mare's head seemed to almost snap, as if looking in anger at the child. Fluttershy shook at the sight, never having seen her mother look so angry at her before. But the look of the older mare soon softened as she looked at her child. She was tired.
What is it, my child?
She asked through exhaustion. Though her let me just read that again. She asked, though exhaustion was apparent in her voice.
Dad wanted me to see if you wanted anything to eat.
Fluttershy whimpered softly.
Ah! Food to eat!
Her mother said with a sarcastic bitterness.
Oh, wait, you want sarcasm. Okay. Do over. Take 2. Ah! Food to eat!
Her mother said with sarcastic bitterness, turning her head to look out the window of her room.
What's the point of eating? It burns my throat and makes me sick.
You're doing it wrong.
But you need to eat, Mother.
Fluttershy. Yeah?
This is starting to look eerily similar to Mad Father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Fluttershy whimpered.
Oh, I do I?
The older mare glared angrily at her daughter.
My, we've got a sassafras here.
Another splatter of blood struck the window, causing the image to turn red once more.
So the blood is literally used as a transition device, as a transitional tool. This is so...
You can't take it seriously, can you?
No!
Before the images changed once more, a smack rang out loud as Philly Fluttershy tumbled in from her sitting position on the table.
That was quite a leap.
Yeah. Tears sprang to the edges of her eyes as she looked up at what had just struck her. The nurse pony was glaring at her.
Huh. Now, tell me again. How did you break your wing?
She snapped at the little filly who was crying.
I...
Fluttershy gulped as she tried to breathe.
I fell while trying to fly.
It's a story of abuse.
Oh, God. No.
A story of abuse.
Stop this. Stop going crazy on me.
Come to me, my child.
No,
I'll
let's
tell
not go
you
this far.
a little
No,
tale. A tale of how to properly beat up your child and master wounds to the police.
What is wrong with you?
A story of abuse.
Do you want me to slap you?
Okay, I'm done. But that was brilliant. If I say so myself. That's right.
The nurse said, then walking over to Fluttershy and picking her up, sitting her back down.
You broke it trying to fly, you silly filly.
I don't like this.
Yeah, well, what did you expect, honestly?
The nurse said, as if trying to be patronizing to her.
You need to be much more careful when you try flying. It can very be dangerous. Sure, let's go with that. To fly.
The nurse nodded her head slowly.
Now let's freshen that cast.
Fluttershy could only cry more. The cast on her wing seemed to be digging into her skin.
A story of abuse.
A third splatter of blood struck the window, which is Madhog's blood. The images turned dark.
Why did that get to you? Of all things.
I'm tired.
Seriously.
The images turned dark, the mirror seeming to turn into fire of darkness. The mirror burned up completely, disappearing without a trace. Fluttershy sat in the dark, tears streaming from her eye. She was sitting in the pitch-black room now, unable to see anything. She carefully moved her hoof up to a lantern before hesitantly turning it on. The light lit up the room before her. Blood stained the carpet and walls. but there was no sign of Rainbow Dash or the dark creature. The smell of blood and mildew struck her next, as she could hear the dripping of water all around her. Oh no!
It's back.
The room was now rotting, drenched. She had returned to that world, the world separate from Ponyville. She had returned to the other world.
Originality.
Hey, at least it's not another world. She very slowly stood up, lifting her hooves over the wall where the mirror used to exist. She carefully walked around the bloodstain that was all over the floor. She couldn't see a single remnant that told her.
A single remnant. What? You sounded a bit like Dusty Rhodes there. Oh, you couldn't see a single remnant. You sounded so devilish. Devilish, I tell you. A single remnant.
I actually never heard Dusty Rhodes talk in my life, so...
It's a single remnant that told that Rainbow Dash had been there. Only the blood stains that scoured the room. Okay.
She couldn't see a single remnant that her Rainbow Dash had been here. Only the blood stains that scoured the room.
Yeah, scour damn rooms. Show them who's boss.
She hiccuped before gulping, praying that Rainbow Dash hadn't just been killed before her eyes. But without a body there, she prayed that she could still be alive. Fluttershy walked up to the door in Rainbow's room and saw something written on blood on the door. On blood on the door.
So, do these people ever use ink?
Written on blood on the door. Apparently someone wrote on the blood on the door.
You know, if you put it like that, it sounds very stupid.
Deep within there are secrets laid to rest, but we cannot hide forever from the sins of our past. What once was lost will now be found. Bloodstained hooves will rise once more. That line. This line.
Very poetic, you young Edgar Allan Poe, you.
Yes. Oh gosh. The poetry was underlined as well to signify its importance.
Yep, I'm totally going to remember this now. You know, you should read this with Raven's voice.
What, you mean from Teen Titans?
Yes. Deep within there are secrets laid to rest.
Okay, let me see. Deep within there are secrets laid to rest, but we cannot hide forever from the sins of our past.
The sins of our past.
Yeah, I'm not very good at Tara Strong Raven.
What once was lost will now be found.
Which is weird because I do a good Twilight Sparkle.
Bloodstained hooves will rise once more.
Asparaf Montreal Sinfos.
Sure, whatever you say.
Okay, let's carry on. It's almost done.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Fluttershy couldn't help but realize the words were meant for her.
Oh, you don't say.
That the images she had just seen were only the beginning. Once she stepped through that door, she was going to learn.
About ellipsis.
About all the ellipses, and grammar, and punctuation, and her old friends, commas.
And Steve.
Learn exactly what those images meant. With a deep breath and gulping down the heart beating in her throat, she opened the doors and walked inside.
Okay, so this is the end of the chapter. And aside from receiving some hints and flashbacks referring to Fluttershy's traumatic past, what exactly has been accomplished with this chapter? Yes, exactly. I mean, Pinkie Pie was in it, she was completely useless, and the story got rid of her pretty fast. She does not contribute anything to this at all. In fact, Fluttershy did not even notice when she disappeared. I mean, what's up with that? Not even a mention of her noticing or pondering, I wonder where Pinkie Pie is. Nope! Completely erased from her memory. That is so bad.
Yeah, it's incredibly terrible. You think she'd be a bit more concerned about her friend, but then again, maybe it's because...
Quotation marks.
Maybe it's because she doesn't consider her a friend anymore, so she's like, frick her.
Okay, so, like I said, this was chapter 5. It's done and dealt with. We are 2 chapters away from the end of this tribe. Not counting the 7 endings and whatnot. 7 additional endings. That is.
Oh boy!
Oh boy, indeed. Oh, hey, Lolo! I don't know what that came from.
I don't know.
Hey, oh, by the way, hey, I'm Sonic. I'm still here. Go read my fanfiction. Yeah, gotta go fast. Too slow. Shut up. Go away forever. Anyway. So I guess we can end it here, and we are more or less in the same position we were at the beginning of the chapter, annoyed, confused, and prone to exhaustion.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's just pretend it wasn't here, just like Pinkie Pie wasn't here.
Oh, this saga. Oh boy.
This is going to be a bit of a trek.
No. Okay, so this has been Madhog Thy Master.
And I've been Devar Akbaron.
And this whole thing has been a story of abuse. Na, na, na,
Oh,
na, na, na,
stop
na,
this
na,
already.
na.
No.
A story of abuse.
No, I will take that
La,
song
la, la,
and
la,
show
la,
it where the
la,
sun doesn't
la.
shine.
Childhood traumas,
No,
violence,
we
towards
just
a
don't know it. I don't even
minor.
want to do that again.
Mother is a
come
bit
on.
crazy,
What
and
is
the
wrong with
nurse
you?
beats us to a pulp
Are you
and
trying
breaks
to
our
torture me?
wing. Yes, that's exactly what I am doing. A story of abuse. Blood fading and sin.
I will remember this.
No, you won't.
I will remember this and pay you back in 2-fold.
Chances are you're too tired to remember any of this. Anyway, see you next time, folks. Good night.
See you next time. Good night. Take care. And I just got lost and everyone forgot about me.
Psst. It's a story of abuse.